WBAY TV, your first alert station. Action 2 News at 6 starts now.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. A Northeast Wisconsin man charged in federal court for conspiracy to commit fraud related to consignment car dealerships is now facing more legal trouble related to other businesses.
John Solberg was arrested and charged in November of 2019 after a multi-year investigation into his businesses, Standard Pre-Owned and Backwoods Bargains in Swamico and Kaukauna, for forging titles and selling cars but keeping the money instead of paying the owners. He is set to appear in front of a judge to change his original not guilty plea tomorrow. But now we've discovered information connecting Solberg to yet more new businesses, and his customers say they too have had issues with their projects. In this first alert investigation, Sarah Thompson has been digging through a web of records, talking to a lot of people impacted over the last several months. She joins us with what she's uncovered.
For months, I've been getting phone calls from people who say they hired a new roofing company to do work, but it wasn't done to their liking or caused costly repairs. Others told us they worked for the business, but said they were threatened and too afraid to talk to us on camera. We started digging and found lawsuits or court cases under different business names. The connection among all of it, one name, John Solberg. For well over a decade, we have reported on multiple businesses run by John Solberg, resulting in legal trouble for him and countless customers alleging they were cheated out of money.
But I yet have not been paid for my vehicle.
It started with Vicenzi's,
I can understand the concern.
a bar he owned in Green Bay in the late 2000s, eventually closed after several fights and city law violations.
So the arrest was made of Mr. Solberg last night at the court.
Solberg soon turned to car sales, operating Backwoods Bargains and Standard Pre-Owned in Swamico and Kaukauna.
Things were booming.
Hundreds of complaints led to a local, state, and then federal investigation into the consignment dealerships, alleging Solberg would sell cars for people but keep the money and forge titles on vehicles.
I didn't put the truck on that lot thinking that I was going to get defrauded in any way.
Investigators arrested him in 2019, the U.S. attorney charging him with wire, mail, and bank fraud in federal court. Solberg pled not guilty, and a judge set him free on bond under conditions he not violate federal, state, or local laws and not secure any loan or financing without court permission or have any contact with customers or employees of the car dealerships or Summit Contracting. That's another company we've reported on extensively the last 2 years that is still under federal investigation for an alleged scheme to defraud financial institutions and customers by taking money from customers without their knowledge and not completing the work. We can find no stipulation preventing Solberg from operating a new business. That court order was dated December 2nd, 2019. 18 days later, a new business called New Heights Roofing incorporated and registered with the Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions. The agency doesn't list a business owner by name, which is common, but after repeated phone calls over the last 9 months from viewers asking us to look into the business, we did. The New Heights Roofing Incorporated website lists no physical address for the business. No owner or team member names are given, but a local phone number is listed. We called it, and John Solberg answered the phone. He tells us he's just an employee of New Heights Roofing Incorporated, but says it's run by a board of directors and shareholders. Online searches for New Heights Roofing in Wisconsin, the only state in which Solberg says the company operates, direct us to an address in Swamico. Tax and court records show that is John Solberg's home address. We asked him why an employee's address would show up. Solberg tells us that's an issue with websites he's trying to resolve. That same address is listed for another company, First Contracting. We couldn't find a website for that business or many other details on First Contracting, but Solberg tells us he does own that one and started it before he left his job at Summit Contracting. We found this case filed last year in New York against First Contracting and John Solberg, a judge ordering payment of more than $23,000 to Kodiak Funding. Its lawyers argued Solberg didn't hold up his end of a financing agreement dating back to 2019. Solberg says that has since been paid. Then just last month, a Sheboygan County couple filed this lawsuit against New Heights Roofing, alleging a breach of contract after they say they hired the company to replace their roof, gutters, and vents last summer and the work was still not done. Court records contain pictures alleging damage, water leakage, and widespread defects requiring the roofing system be replaced. Homeowners confirmed to Action 2 News they have been trying to resolve this with Solberg for months. Solberg tells us the issue was resolved satisfactory to both parties as of yesterday.
How much have you been dealing with New Heights and with John Solberg?
More than I care to, yeah, for sure. But the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Russ Burry says when New Heights came knocking at his Door County property last winter, he took what he thought was a good deal. He credits the crew for working on a difficult project in harsh winter conditions and says the roof is not leaking, but he is still asking for more work to be done.
It's done for the most part. There's some cosmetic work, little pieces of the siding that may have been cracked, a couple screens.
Solberg says the company will fix Burry's roof and anyone else who has an issue, telling us all that matters is that the customer's happy. Solberg also pointed out several positive reviews posted online and shared testimonials from happy customers, including a man who got a roof for free after Solberg says New Heights accidentally tore part of a roof off the wrong house. As for his federal case involving Standard Pre-Owned, it is listed as a change of plea hearing slated for tomorrow afternoon. Solberg tells us he has $150,000 ready to pay back the victims in that case and says he earned all of that money since being arrested in 2019 by hard work and his faith. We'll have updates on any developments from court tomorrow on Action 2 News.
WBAY TV, your first alert station. Action 2 News at 6 starts now.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. The Brown County man indicted in a federal fraud case connected to 2 consignment car dealerships he operated in the area for years is now headed to trial.
A federal grand jury handed down a 15-count indictment against John Solberg back in 2019, including charges of wire, bank, and mail fraud. The U.S. Attorney's Office says Solberg forged titles or sold cars for people without their knowledge, then kept the money. He appeared before a federal judge just hours ago. Sarah Thompson has been following this case since the investigation began more than 5 years ago and has new details in this First Alert follow-up investigation.
John Solberg did not take the walk into the federal courthouse in downtown Green Bay like he did when the 15-count fraud indictment came down in 2019. This time, he appears before the federal judge in a virtual hearing from what appears to be a place with woods behind him. Federal court rules prohibit us from recording the proceedings, but we can watch. Solberg pled not guilty to charges he took money from sales of customers' cars without their consent back in 2019. As we first told you yesterday, court records showed the case was scheduled as a change of plea hearing. Instead, records show Solberg's attorney notified the clerk this morning they do not have a signed plea agreement and Solberg would not be entering a guilty plea today. The federal judge seems slightly surprised, then tells both sides if they don't have an agreement now, he wants a trial date. In the past, other hearings have been allowed. Solberg's attorney says they're working on resolving the matter, but are not certain that will happen and ask for a 7-day trial. It's now set for October 25th. The judge adding, quote, "Let's not play chicken," and asked the attorneys not to wait until the 11th hour to reach a plea agreement. While we know little about any agreement negotiations, court records do show Solberg has retained experts, which his attorney says would likely affect the plea agreement and sentencing. As part of our First Alert investigation that aired Wednesday night, Solberg told us repeatedly by phone and messages, including through this text, that he has $150,000 ready to pay back Standard Pre-Owned victims, adding that money needs to be distributed. There is no discussion of that in today's 7-minute hearing. We will continue to watch this case and alert you if there is a plea agreement reached before that October trial date. In the meantime, following our report last night involving John Solberg and other contracting businesses he's associated with, we're continuing to receive messages from viewers saying they too have had problems with roofing work and are asking us to look into it. We will continue to do that.
Short update in a federal fraud case linked to vehicle consignment businesses. Attorneys for John Solberg are asking to delay an upcoming jury trial. Solberg is accused of forging titles and selling cars without paying the owners at his businesses in Swamico and Kaukauna. Solberg's attorneys now say they aren't ready for next month's trial because one of them had a death in the family, and they've also just been served with over 900 documents of new evidence. The court has not yet ruled on that motion. First Alert investigations have also uncovered complaints with other businesses linked to Solberg as customers allege they were cheated out of money. Attorneys for a man charged in a federal fraud case linked to vehicle consignment businesses are asking to delay an upcoming jury trial. John Solberg was scheduled to stand trial in November on 15 counts of federal fraud. Today, Solberg's newly hired attorneys filed a motion asking for a continuance. One of the attorneys had a death in the family and says he's unable to prepare for a trial in November. The defense says they also have been served with over 900 documents, which would make it more difficult for them to prepare in a timely manner. The court has not yet ruled on that motion.
Another First Alert update in a federal fraud case linked to vehicle consignment businesses. John Solberg's trial has now been pushed to next May. We've been reporting for years on accusations of forging titles and selling cars without paying the owners at his businesses in Swamico and Kaukauna. A few weeks ago, Solberg's attorney said they weren't ready for a trial next month because one of them had a death in the family, and they were served with over 900 documents of new evidence. First Alert investigations have also uncovered complaints to other businesses linked to Solberg as customers allege they were cheated out of money.